the friend zone. I'm in the friend zone. I'm in the friend zone. I'm in the friend zone.
That's right, everybody. How you doing today? This is a special Valentine's Day podcast with our team, Tom, Ricky, David Barry, and myself, Kevin Green. We're continuing our series on the 10 phases of dating, and you guessed it. Today's topic is the friend zone. Tom, Ricky, how you doing today? Talking to people.
Doing great. I am definitely in the friend zone today, and I'm not really liking it. I think we should probably talk about that a little bit today.
All right.
Yeah.
David Barry, how's the friend zone down in Miami?
Oh, it's ever expanding and fantastic.
Oh,
Thank
yeah?
you so much.
Very good, gentlemen. Well, I wanted to talk about this because Valentine's Day is obviously here. And there's going to be a lot of couples out tomorrow night having a great time with each other, maybe having some lingerie, some special times later on in the evening. But then there's going to be that guy who's sitting at home. He got the box of Godiva chocolates for the girl, but she's having no part of it. She doesn't love him. She doesn't want to have his babies. So that is him in the friend zone.
I'm kind of confused where the baby situation.
She doesn't like him. She's not into it.
So therefore, she won't have babies with you.
With him, yeah. If you're friends.
If you're friends, I'm so. Should we just shut this podcast down right now?
Dinner was a possibility, but let's just skip right to that.
You got it.
You know, I was thinking about it. Why don't we just skip straight to the chase? Let's have kids.
Look, you got to keep your options open.
Yeah.
David, how would you define the friend zone?
I think the friend zone is kind of obvious to those who are outside of it, but those who are in it are really? Are you sure? Yeah, the friend. If you have to ask, you are probably a friend. The friend zone is kind of it's a product of a couple of things. The person who is more eager than the other by a lot often puts themselves in the friend zone because really, why do you need to be that eager? In a guy's circumstance chasing the girl, he thinks that by showing how good of a guy he is and being readily available to her, as opposed to the guy who's not giving her any time,
right.
That in his eyes is the best way to chase her. Not so, because then you just seem overeager and you're cast aside as an option, not worth chasing.
Right.
On the flip side, the girls are probably guilty of being the same thing. Either they're too nice and accommodating, they don't really stand up for themselves, and probably make themselves readily available at all times. Like it's the girl who is able to hang out anytime that you ask her to hang out.
Right.
Yeah, that's friend zone.
Okay,
Listen, Dave. To me, the friend zone's like the mafia. You just can't get out, right?
Well, I mean, I tend to think so in most times, although there's always that one or two exceptions, but. My thought on this is if you shouldn't pull someone out of the friend zone most times. If they're in the friend zone because neither of you ever had the courage to strike up the other and see, well, then that's a different story. But
now, Dave, with that being said, I've certainly 110% been involved in many a situation where it was a dating situation to begin with, and then all of a sudden it switched from dating to no longer dating. Now you're in the friend zone, and what happens if you want to get it going again? I mean, what do you do? I honestly don't have an answer for it because I haven't cracked the code myself.
But isn't that just the girl being not interested in you anymore? Isn't that the end of the romantic relationship? Oh, we can try and be friends still?
But with that being said as well, I mean, doesn't that bring out the fact that if they just wanted to be friends with you and casual friends, why would they hang out with you at that point? I don't know.
Girls like guys for different reasons, and then guys like girls.
Thanks, Confucius.
Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Confucius on the line live from Miami today.
Girls, I think, use guys for a number of different utilities. They're essentially the...
Can you list those out for us, Dave?
They're like a wrench in the tool belt, the Swiss Army knife of the tool belt.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. You've got a guy who can, one, maybe stroke your ego. Two, be used as a way to make the other guy that she actually wants guilty. Someone to just kind of pass the time with, to kind of stroke her ego. I mean, there's a number of ways. a guy can fit in as just the friend, and a girl has an absolutely good use for him, logically, at least in her mind, while the guy is thinking, well, maybe there's still a chance, I think if you were dating once and then a girl relegates you to the friend zone, that's it.
That's probably it.
That's it.
Well,
pack it up. You can't romanticize it anymore.
So what you're saying there is you can't get out of that situation.
If
it's
you
impossible.
By dating, I don't think so.
Okay. We need to get back to the beginning of this, though. Who is to blame more for the friend zone? Is it the girl for leading the guy on, or is it the guy for?
I think it could be either
being
or.
the hopeless romantic.
No, it's either or. Whichever one is willing to give more and not receiving that from the other. Isn't that right? I mean,
yeah, I'm on board with Tommy. It's there's always going to be somebody, and this might not sit well with people in happy relationships, but I think in all relationships, there's somebody who is pushing it a little bit harder than the other.
With any relationship, I think you'll find that. Any
correct.
relationship.
Now, when those two people are pretty close in balance and kind of it ebbs and it flows, but ever just so gently, I think that's your balance. That's a good relationship. But whoever the person is that is leading it far more than the other, always initiating, always following up, that is the person who's going to get relegated to the friend zone. Because let's face it, if the other person had a real interest, then they would be balancing you out. And
I think to Dave's point, Kevin, I think that really hits on all sides. That's a crush. That's emotions of a relationship and just overall feelings about somebody. I think that on that side of the coin, you can really truly see that in either a guy or a girl, whichever one has more feelings in the crush or has more emotion in the relationship. I mean, you can see it on either side of the coin.
All right, so
it sounds a lot more convincing though when it's said in Tom's voice than mine.
Well, here's the real crux of the issue, though. I think we all agree the friend zone exists. We all agree that there's varying responsibility. It's either on the male or the female. It depends on the specific situation. But here's really what we need to get to: how, if at all, do you get out of the friend zone? Is it possible?
Is there hope?
And if it is possible, what kind of tactics can you employ to get yourself out of this situation?
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me start this one off, Dave, if you don't mind. Now that we kind of talked about that anyone here can be friend zoned, I think we're kind of coining a term here, friend zoned.
Yes.
In essence, I've heard 1,000,001 different things that guys do to try to get out of this friend zone.
Yeah.
And one of them I think is absolutely hilarious. And Dave, I think you're going to like this one. I think guys try to, at some point, when they realize that they have been friend zoned by someone that they don't want to be in the friend zone with, they immediately go out and try to talk to as many women as possible and make it known that they're talking to that many women, 5, 6 women at a time, and they literally try to put them all on one arm and one shoulder and walk around to every bar and nightclub or wherever they could do, and they just try to show it all off in front of this girl as if she's going to be like, whoa, my God,
and now
now
you have the Facebook angle of this as well, where you can show off those girls in the virtual world. You have the Facebook status where you tag all the cute girls and make sure that the girl who's friend zone you, who you are just so desperate to get with, sees it.
Dave, I think that is the A1, number one, worst possible thing.
Never works.
That a man can do, or even a woman. I mean, it is just awful.
Do you think that would work, Dave?
Human beings never cease to amaze.
I mean, do you think that would work to show off girls? To get the one or no?
I'm sorry?
Talk about it from the female perspective, Dave. I mean, do you want to see the girl
I'm so in tune with that?
Well, I mean, you certainly are. I mean, you've certainly got more estrogen pumping through your veins than Kevin and I. So,
wow!
Yes,
score!
Yes! Hashtag things.
And now,
hashtag things I never thought I'd hear Tom say.
Yeah. What the hell are we even talking about right now?
Well, we were talking about the whole,
things that guys do to try to
get out of
the friend zone.
Tom brought up going out. We're showing a bunch of girls off that you're hanging out with to get this one girl jealous.
Worst possible thing to do. What would be some other things to actually do, Dave? Because I don't know.
To get out, dig yourself out.
Well, now I'm being asked two different questions, and now we've totally taken the podcast off track. For a guy to get out,
we're on a podcast.
What?
We're on a podcast.
Hello?
Where am I?
Who am I?
Yeah, I'm recording this.
I think for a guy to get out, your best bet is to always come correct and direct. If you if you've been playing games along for a while and, the up and down and trying to, like, placate her to an extent, you need to stop that. You need to just come directly to her without being too invasive by, suggesting strong feelings. Just say, look, we haven't really explored this before, and if we have, I didn't really explore it as much as I want to. I got a thing for you, and I want to see what's there, and what's your take on that type of thing. This way you're not leaving any room for discussion. I mean, what happened to just having the balls to sack up and ask a direct question? I mean,
I think confidence is key. Yeah,
it's a big deal.
Think about the worst case scenario. Okay, you ask the question, you get the answer no. Okay, well, you've been sitting around the whole time with a what if hanging over your head anyway.
Sure.
Now you have clarity. She says no. Okay, fine. You either realize that you do have a real friendship and carry on with it, or you realize the only reason you were hanging on is because you believed it was something more, and you move forward.
However, Dave, here's a big kink in your chain. Do you really have a friendship after that? After you throw that question out there?
No way.
I don't think you have a friendship.
That's the end. So that's
I think that shuts it all down.
Again, if this girl has been constantly, putting you on hold and not following through, then no, I don't think you do have a friend. But if this is somebody who has, occasionally been somebody who's, really been a good friend to you, and you can say that objectively without, your feelings involved, and then maybe you do have something to hang on to after. But I would also ask yourself, what's the point in hanging on to all these extra friendships when what you're really looking for is a relationship?
Well, let me ask you this: is as a potential way to get out of the friend zone, what about suggesting friends with benefits? Is that a way to ease into it? Is like, what if we just try this friends with benefits thing?
That sounds like a terrible idea.
I think it's awful, and I think in Kevin's side of things, what would happen is they would say, Kevin, we're just really good friends. You're so cute, Kevin.
Yes.
You're so cute.
And filled with testosterone, apparently.
Oh, Kevin. No, but you're like a cute dog cute, Kevin. Like a little dog.
Yeah.
Like, if I had a Precious Moments doll, I would just bronze you and put you on my shelf.
But that's really the thing. It's like you act like a lapdog for the girl that you're into when you're trapped in this thing. It's like those like Mario levels where you're trying to like get out and kill King Koopa. You're just trapped and you have to keep doing the level over and over and over again, no matter what you do, be it buy chocolates, be it buy her roses, whatever. You fail. You come up short.
Kevin just used relationships as a video game, so we've taken it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And
sure. Yeah, he just made a real...
I think that...
Right, it's all a game. Come on, it's all a game.
The real question that Dave brought up is, do we really need more friends? No, we don't. We are really looking for, at the end of the day, a relationship.
But is that a real friendship anyway?
It probably isn't.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, what is a real friendship in today's day and age? Is it just clicking, saying, "Hey, we're friends on Facebook," or is it we're going to go out and we're going to create a podcast together?
And just be idiots. Yeah. I think what we need to do is we need to kind of turn this just a touch, and I'm going to ask both of you this question. What are things that you can control at this point? I mean, we've talked about everybody can be friend zoned. We've talked about some things not to do. We've talked about some things that happen and what goes on. But what are the things we can control, maybe to not put ourselves in this situation, and or, what can we control to kind of make it less harsh?
You mean as far as like when you're approaching and you end up in the friend zone?
Yeah, either or.
I think I've got a pretty simple one. Stop trying so damn hard. I mean, what you have to offer is yourself, then just be yourself. Would you, I mean, for example, if I sent Tom a text and he didn't return the message for several hours, I wouldn't follow it up and say, "Well, hope you're having a great day." That's out of character. I'm doing fine with or without Tom. My life exists with or without Tom.
Don't need the validation.
Why would you start treating that differently when you're with someone of the opposite sex? Let them be a human being as much as you deserve to be a human being. When you start trying too hard, you just stop. Just don't do it.
It seems like it all boils down to self-belief, self-confidence, and knowing that, like, I'm good enough the way I am, and she's either going to like me or she isn't. If she doesn't, it's not a big deal.
Then I didn't like her anyway.
Yeah, and forget it. And I'm defriending her.
You have.
Yeah. But she just did not cut it.
Yeah.
There was something wrong with her. I always knew there was.
Have you ever found it? I mean, to me, when I think about my friend zone experiences, I kind of think
Every relationship that you've been in?
No, I think of a younger version of myself. Like now, I feel like I'm more confident. I with the girl or not, it's not a big deal. But maybe when I'm 18, 19, 20, 21, that's when a girl could really have that power and control over me. Have either of you experienced this recently? I mean, I know you're both confident guys, but if you've experienced it recently, or do you think it's more of a youthful kind of idea?
Getting caught in the friend zone?
Yeah.
No, I think it could happen to anybody. I can think of a couple instances in my more recent dating world that I've been relegated to the friend zone, if you will, or been
the funny
friend
thing
zoned.
about advice is it's so easy to give and so hard to listen to when you're on the inside of it. Because I just went through something like that recently too with a girl I knew had a really busy schedule and everything like that. So I figured it was going to involve a little bit more communication, and you know what? Chances are my efforts at communication are a big part of the reason that's not happening.
Dave, but you got a great quote, and I think you should put this out there. This is in the 10 Phases Dating book, some of the chapters that soon, hopefully, all these listeners will be able to read. You have a quote about something to the effect of, if you're busy, that means you're not a priority. That is such a true statement. I mean, when you hear somebody say to you via text or via Facebook message, I've been so busy, I got all these things going on. Listen, we all know we all got things going on. At the end of the day, if you can't take the 13 seconds that it takes to type in with your fat thumbs a quick, hey, what's going on, then you're not a priority, and you've made that very clear via your actions, correct?
I agree 100%. People we'll look at so many other things with such cold, hard, and calculated, rationale, except when it comes to their own emotions. No, people do act exactly as they intend to. Whether or not you want to accept it is a different point.
Yeah.
But, but if someone, for example, you got a busy schedule, there is a possible situation where you've got 5, 6, 7 days in a row where you're not going to be able to see that person in the flesh. That happens. But if you really do want to make sure that person doesn't fall by the wayside, you're going to find a way to make sure they know you're still on the radar.
Look,
and if you don't, then you don't care.
Dave,
it comes down, well...
If you could equate it to anything, what would you equate it to? Me, I would equate it to food. When I'm hungry, I eat. If I want to see someone, I'm going to see them. I mean, it's really that simple, The
thing is, though, even just letting, in the current era we're in, even with just letting someone know that you're into them, it literally takes 5 seconds to send a text thinking of you, how you doing, everything okay.
You wouldn't call
them?
them?
No, I wouldn't call them, but if I'm so busy.
You can send an emoji which has emotion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's one button.
But no, you should call, but if you're as busy as Dave's talking about, it takes no time out of your schedule. En route, you can click a voice button, you can send a voice text message with an emocon, and let them know that you're thinking of them.
It's an emoji, Kevin.
Emoji.
It's not an emocon. What is this, Star Wars?
Schlong in one hand and texting in the other. You can send that emoji. But why you're sending emojis is another
Can
point
we just
altogether,
talk about emojis real quick?
Yeah.
I hope we're saying it right, but that was a thought-out plan, because I truly feel like it can almost embody every feeling and or thought via a monkey, via a red or a yellow smiley face. I mean, I feel like it can literally take care of every thought I've ever had and put my emotion to it.
But the over-emocon makes you think that you're dealing with a girl who's unstable. You ever get that text message with 3 smiley faces and 3 sentences?
I don't know what's happening at that point.
Yeah, or the people that have the every text they send that has the permanent hearts embedded in the bottom. You know what I mean? It's you send an email and it says sent from my iPad. Same thing with a text, except it's heart and smiley faces and
you say that to all the boys.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway,
that sounded
we've gone down a slight
I apologize.
tangent.
I was the one that took the I took the train the wrong way.
However, emocons are probably a pretty big
emocons. It's
emojis they're probably a pretty big.
How hard is that?
They're probably used pretty vociferously in.
Say that word again.
No, I said it really fast, so I didn't have to pronounce it. I was between two words.
Yeah, Kevin, why don't you try to spell that?
No.
For everybody listening, Kevin is arguably the worst speller in the world and never proofreads anything he writes on any medium.
I fully embrace it. I fully understand that. Yeah. Even on my website, I published it and then I had to go back and edit it because I realized
that you spelled nothing.
Correction. Most of the time, I'm going back in and editing it, but he doesn't know.
When you got a friend that spells, you don't need to spell. I think Confucius said that.
Again, 2 Confucius quotes today. This is big.
Yeah, it's
this episode has really covered a lot from Confucius.
Yeah.
He's got to be thrilled right right now.
He really does.
So happy.
That guy is just turning over in his grave.
Yeah.
I feel like we should, just keep going with the Confucius stuff. I mean, I think we're onto something here.
I'm all out, really. I'm tapped out of Confucius.
What was it?
So here's
Liam Neeson's cock is so big.
there's another
Confucius.
there's another blog or another blog / podcast that you guys should listen to. It is just absolutely wonderful. It's hilarious. It's called Hollywood Babble On, and we had listened to this thing a couple of days ago, and it is just hilarious. And they've got this small little bit on Liam Neeson's cock and how big it is. It's just this joke that they do every time, and it is absolutely hilarious. I don't know why we find it that funny, but sometimes...
Well, out of curiosity, Tom, for those who haven't really listened, I included, let's talk about the size.
You know what?
Because as Confucius says, everything has beauty, but not everyone sees it.
Yeah, that's very true. And he who writes on bathroom walls rolls his shit into little balls. He who reads these words of wit eats those little balls of shit. I think he also said that somewhere, too. So
Yeah, didn't he also explain the hickory dickory dock your mom?
Which probably adequately summarizes the entire podcast today.
anyways,
Okay.
yeah. We'll just shut that down. So, Dave, things you can control.
Yes,
can we get out of the friend
try
zone?
and bring it back.
Can we control this? Can we get out of the friend zone? Is it a yes or is it a no?
No.
So when we're in the friend zone, you're just there. You're relegated to the friend zone. You've been friend zoned. It's really game over. Unless you take the confident steps to really tell and say what you feel and what you're thinking. You throw it out there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, shut it down, is what you're saying. It's a waste of time from this point forward.
So once you're in, you're trapped. You can stop short of getting in if you're able to be confident and be like, look, this is me, I'm good enough. Then you might be able to prevent going into the friend zone. But once you're there, you're stuck. Is that kind of the consensus?
I think it is.
Thought. If you get out of the friend zone, then you were never fully in, is my thought.
Okay.
So listen, everybody, just don't change your Facebook statuses anymore to it's complicated. Just say you're either in a relationship or you're not, because it's no longer complicated.
Yeah.
We've just figured it all out right here.
There it is.
Side note, though.
As Confucius says, life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated.
I hate you so much.
I hate Confucius. I hate him.
Can we just start a petition for those people that have the in a relationship? That's fine. Can you not tag the other person you're in a relationship with on
I don't
Facebook?
want to know.
I don't care. If you're married, great, link it up. That's fine, but I don't care if you're dating someone. I don't care. Anyway, that's my stump speech for the end of this podcast.
Well done, Kevin. I mean, really impressive.
Kevin, I think you actually ruined the end of the podcast.
That wasn't the very end. We were getting towards the end.
So now we need to...
I had a point I had to make. I had to make it. I needed to get that off my chest. It's been weighing on me for at least 5 hours.
I think, Dave, you and I need to at least say something of some sort of value before we continue this conclusion.
How about another Confucius quote? Or maybe you could give us another Liam Neeson's cock story. Because we've been such...
Nothing wrong there. What is there to worry about? What is there to fear?
To fear of what?
But fear itself?
That was a Confucius quote.
Absolute disaster.
All right.
This train has been derailed. It is derailed.
Let's wrap this baby up right now. To all of our listeners, thank you so much for giving this podcast some forward momentum. We're in the process of getting a firm name in place as we go forward. We're going to continue our series on David Barry's book, The 10 Phases of Dating, which is fully funded and getting ready to be...
I've got to say thank you to everyone who did support that project, and I'm moving along, steadily. That was an awesome moment for me. I really appreciate everybody who believed in the project. Sure. So thank you guys.
Well, Dave, I know Tom and I are both fans of your work. We're fans of your intelligence and your passion.
Yeah, well, Tom actually supported it financially.
Hold on. I was if it didn't get covered, I was covering the balance. I told you that.
Hey, listen, and I even put out there that I would literally take anyone that donated to that fund out to dinner. And we've got at least 3 or 4 people that will be joining me for dinner. And thank you to those people. You know who you are that donated. Thank you so much again for helping Dave out.
That's great.
All right, Kevin, now end it.
All right, ending it up. Here we go. So thank you very much for being listeners. We've now gotten it over 800 people have listened to this podcast. It's pretty astounding. We're taking it forward. We're moving it forward. We want to keep getting your listener input. This is your podcast. We want what you find interesting. We want to talk about.
Would you say that they want the truth?
They might want the truth. If you have any name ideas, feel free to drop them forward. We're going through some other things, but. As for now, we're going to end it up with our favorite song, The Friend Zone by your favorite Martian. I'm Kevin Green. That's Tom Rickey. That's David Barry in Miami. And thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week. Have a happy Valentine's Day, and good luck in the Friend Zone, everybody.